578 horsepower, more than 1100 Newton meters of torque, an iconic design that has no parallel on this planet, and the capability to pull off moves such as the G-turn and G-steering. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to the latest version of the iconic G-Wagen, but now in an electrified avatar. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you that does this 3 crore rupee car make sense or not, and most importantly, does it still deliver that G-Wagen feel in terms of driving or not? Now when it comes to the design, well, this electric G-Wagen hasn't changed much. You see the same design which you see on the regular G-Wagen or the G63. So it's got, in fact, the last car we tested, the color too is the same. But here in India, this is available only in the Edition 1 version. So you get the AMG line, the night packaging is standard, and because of that you get the blacked out elements up front. You also get blacked out 20-inch alloy wheels, but overall the design is same as the regular petrol G-Wagen. The differences include the EQ badging on the side and the G580 badging at the back, and only when you really go down and look at the underbody, you can see the battery pack and the shielding given to protect the battery pack. So those are the changes on the outside, but otherwise from a distance, it's hard to differentiate this from a regular G-Wagen unless you look at the green number plate. Now once you step inside the cabin of the G580, you are greeted to a cabin very similar to what you would see otherwise on the G-Wagen or specifically the G63. And it's got a nice layout. This, like I said, is the Edition 1, so you get the Edition 1 lettering here. Also, because of this being the Edition 1, you get these different seats up front. They also have a massaging function. Beyond that, the layout is very nice. It looks modern. 12.3 inches of screen that is on either side, so it's a combination of two screens. The new age Mercedes screen, so they work really well. The user interface is good, the visibility is really nice, very sharp resolution. So yeah, overall very good to use. One key difference you will see in terms of the dashboard layout is the fact that while G63 has those famous locking differential buttons, here instead you get the button for low range and the button to activate G-turn and G-steering. There's also a button for off-road cockpit. You press the off-road cockpit and you get a screen which gives you a lot of off-road data, which will come in handy when you're going for extreme off-roading. But beyond that, it's got a very nice premium layout. It looks like a proper G-Wagen. It looks solidly built. It looks very robust, and that's what you expect from a G-Wagen. At the same time, it is very comfortable. It gives you access to a lot of features. It's got a sunroof, and even when you look at the rear seat, it's got a decent amount of space. The seat is again decent. I wouldn't say it's a great seat to be in, but that's not what the G-Wagen is made for, right? You wouldn't buy it to be chauffeur driven. So yes, you can have 4 or 5 people sitting in the car with reasonable comfort, but the main fun lies here up front. Also, one other change from the G63 is the fact that when you open the boot space is a little lesser than the G63, and that's because of the battery placement and how things have had to be reworked in terms of design. But again, not to an extent which takes away its practicality. You can still take this electric G-Wagen for a weekend drive with loads of luggage in the back. Alright, now on to the most important part, the electric powertrain. Now we've established that the G-Wagen electric looks like a G-Wagen should. It also feels pretty similar when you're inside the cabin, but what about the driving experience? Let's get the numbers out of the way first, and it comes with a 116 kilowatt hour battery. The claimed range is more than 470 kilometers on a WLTP cycle, but in real world, what you'll get is about a little over 400 kilometers if you're driving sanely, which I think is going to be very hard when you're driving a G-Wagon. Of course, also when it's so powerful, 578 horsepower and more than 1100 Newton meters of torque. So yes, you're going to have some fun, and that means realistically you're looking at a range of about 380 to 400 kilometers depending on the way you're driving. How is it to drive? Well, it's electric. So first of all, compared to the G63, when you push start the ignition button, nothing. There's some artificial space kind of a sound that goes around the cabin. That's about it. But unlike the G63, which wakes up to a loud rumble, well, nothing happens here. Once you're on the move, well, that is where the fun begins, because it's electric, it's very fast. And keep in mind, the way this has been done is it's got 4 electric motors, one on each wheel. So you've got each wheel being powered by an electric motor, and that has many advantages which I'll come to in a couple of minutes. But to start with, despite the weight, it just launches off the line pretty quick. And I think in terms of just initial acceleration, because I just drove the G63 a few weeks back, I think this is quicker off the line than a G63 AMG. But once you get into the high triple digit speeds, I think as you keep building speed, that is where the G63 will regain some advantage, because this sort of starts running out of power once you get past about 150 kilometers per hour. But like I said, till that point, it goes like a rocket. Under 5 seconds for a vehicle this big and heavy. So that's pretty impressive. In terms of driving dynamics, well, it's pretty stable in a straight line. Yes, it's a ladder frame chassis, so there is a lot of vertical movement. Also keep in mind that it's a very high vehicle, so the center of gravity is not low, it sits at a higher point. So yes, you will have that vertical movement all around in the cabin, but beyond that, I don't think it's up to a point where it gets uncomfortable. Yes, it's not a vehicle that you would want to go corner hunting in, but it doesn't mind going around corners at a fair pace as long as you can handle and live with the body roll. So now that we've established that yes, it is a quick car and it can be pretty fun to drive as far as pure performance is concerned, what about the sound? Like I said, electric means no sound, but Mercedes engineers have put in some electric sounds in it, which we say artificial sounds. And yeah, I mean, when you're driving in comfort mode, you get something mimicking an internal combustion engine. Go to sport, well, that's where it tries to mimic the G63. So you get the sound, but it just feels artificial. It feels disconnected from the way the vehicle moves, and no, the sound thing doesn't work for me. I mean, the G63 just feels so better because of the loud engine and the exhaust. This just appears a bit too artificial. But yes, for all of you who are okay with artificial sounds, I think it works fine. Now let's get back to the 4 motors that I mentioned at the beginning. So now what that does is it gives this G-Wagon some exceptional off-road capability which the G63 can't. And that is where the advantage lies. Now, because of having a single motor on each wheel, you can independently control how each wheel moves, even the direction. And that's why you can do something as crazy as the G-turn, which is a 360-degree turn. It can also do 720. Basically, it just turns. And how it works is, in a basic manner to explain it, like a military tank works. You've got chains on either side. So when you see a tank doing a 360, the chain on one side moves forward, the chain on the other side goes backward. Similarly, in the G-Wagon, here in the Electric G580, 2 wheels on either side move in one direction, 2 wheels on the other side move in an opposing direction, and that allows it to do a full 360. It also has this very interesting G steering. Now, this comes in handy when you're doing extreme off-roading, and keep in mind the G-Wagon is big. Now, if you are going across a tight trail and you want to take a tight turn, that's where you use the G steering. And as you can see in the footage, it locks the rear wheel, and because of the wheels being locked, the vehicle is able to take a tighter turn. So that just adds a lot more to your off-road capability. Beyond that, of course, you can have everything that regular G-Wagon does. So it's got all-wheel drive, it's got great amount of ground clearance, it's got a lot of off-road displays that give you a lot of information. Even the suspension articulation is great. So yes, if you want to take the G-Wagon off-roading, you can. And in fact, it might just be a bit better at off-roading than the regular G63. So that's how the vehicle is to drive. In terms of practicality, well, you can fast charge it, so you can take it from 10 to 80% in a matter of minutes, and yes, that's not going to be a problem at all. Like I said earlier, the range realistically 380 to 400 should be good enough for your city rides and the occasional highway trip. But I mean, if given a choice, I would still go in for the G63. It's more authentic. It gives you that proper AMG experience. But if you are someone who wants to go electric but doesn't want to compromise on power, because this is similarly powerful, and you want the novelty of being able to do the famous G-turn, and you want better off-road capability, I think then the G580 makes good sense. How much do you pay for? Well, 3 crores ex-showroom, all sold out, but bookings are open, so you can give your money to the Mercedes-Benz dealership and they will let you know how long do you wait till you get yours in the garage. If you like this video, then please hit that subscribe button. Also press that little bell icon so that our videos can reach to you on time.